Scream if you want to go faster.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
What's going on, friends, and welcome on back to football. Do I start again, or should we just keep this train going, baby? I'll learn to talk as I record. What's happening? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. And I do feel like a host when I'm holding this Football Therapy microphone. Welcome back to Chelsea News. I hope you're doing well. The transfer windows are still open. Besiktas, Turkey, Saudi. To be fair, the bomb squad is down to 3 players, which ain't bad, considering how, bloated squads have been previously. I know Chelsea are one of the few clubs, or if not possibly the only club, certainly the only club in the Prem, that has generated revenue rather than just spent. So we don't have a net spend, we have a minus net spend, revenue generated in transfers, which is incredibly impressive, really. Notoriously the best selling club in the world, and like we joke, champions of selling, you'll never sing that, mate. We'll talk a little bit about the football, how we're doing. Of course, we're now in the deep dark abyss that is the international break, but we've got to reflect on the Raheem Sterling situation because it is blockbuster, it's high profile, hell, it's expensive. Can he literally just train with the kids for 6 months / 12 months? I mean, surely Chelsea have got to cut serious losses. But apparently, spoiler, we owe him 30 million in wages. Raheem, why don't you just walk away? Why don't you just take a wage cut and go play for Brentford? Because 30 million. I know he's made his money. Look, mate. I'm not one of these football fans that are like, get out of my club. We offered him a contract. He signed that contract. Sterling, as a young man, he was highly rated. He went up north into the Midlands. He played for Liverpool for years, and then he played for Man City for years. He finally gets his homecoming move back to London, which of course he's wanted for so long for friends and family reasons. He gets said move, yeah. He comes back, he gets his family in London, signs for Chelsea, gets a big contract, fine, Tuchel wanted him, Bowley and co granted him the wages, he puts his children in schools, he's like, finally in rest. And now, a little bit into it, we're like, go to Saudi Arabia. No, let him stay. Do you know what I mean? Of course he's going to want to stay. We have to be a little bit big boy about this, do you know what I mean? But of course, he does still want to play football, and he does still have ambitions to play for England. As an England fan, I'm not overly excited at that prospect. But the guy who was desperate to sign him for Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel, wow, what are the odds, is managing England at the moment. So he probably thinks, there's a chance. Anyway, we're going to get into all of it today. Disassi to Besiktas, maybe. More transfers to be done. More revenue to be done. Break even more money. So guys, thank you for joining me as always. Thank you for supporting the content as always. Strap yourselves in. Please do consider liking the video, because that's nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Subscribing, and if you do have any of your hype, put on. Have you got any hype points? Please. Put your hype points in the... can you see it properly? Because it is kind of like... This is kind of giving beggars cap. Please, sir. Hype points in here. Although I think they're actually on this side of the screen. Underneath. They're here. Please. Put some hype points in the cap. You can't really see it. Anyway. Yeah. I'm really warm behind these lights. I'm going to strip off a layer. One moment, please. You're welcome, ladies. It's better. Right, football. First of all, look at this. TNT Sports posted this on X. Chelsea's team rank in the Premier League this season. Average for possession. First. Ha! Eat that, Pep. Although Pep's seemingly going for more of a out-of-possession, agricultural, long ball, big man up top, goalkeeper who can't pass, and Gianluigi Donnarumma. Now, this is good. Big chances created, least goals conceded, goals scored, second, and good XG accumulated second. Now, of course, disclaimer, guys, yeah? We haven't been at our best. We got fortunate against Fulham with their probably wrongly disallowed goal. But still, big chances created first. For me, average possession's fine. Like, possession doesn't necessarily win you games. Maresca likes possession, so good for him there. But big chances created first. That, for me, is a big tick. And I think we should enjoy that, take it to the bank, and, deposit it into said bank, walk home with a big smile on our faces. A smile like this. Tutto bene. Is that offensive? Right, so, look, just wanted to drop that in there because, let's be honest, it's the international break and it's pretty thin gruel. So, if there's something I go, to, that is almost certainly going into a video. Right, let's talk about Raz then, because he is in that tiny little dressing room. You know, let me just quickly, tiny little dressing room that everyone's like, oh, it looks like my Sunday League, or Sports Centre changing room. To be honest, if you've seen that picture from Disassy's story, if your Sports Centre gym has a changing room like that, you'd feel pretty gutted, let alone if you're a freaking Premier League footballer. But Naz Kinsella has wrote on the Bubaka, Sterling in Chelsea exile with £30 million. 30 million big ones, yeah? Ooh la, that's so much money in wages, yeah? Especially when his kids are in school, he's probably got a nice house, a good family life, doesn't want to shake that up. I've got 30 million quid coming in here. I'm just sort of knocking about, getting on with it. Having to kick about, keeping not upsetting anyone. Well, not intentionally upsetting anyone. Pretty good, really. Apparently, he's got ambitions to play for England still, so he does. I'm so mindful not to dig him out here because he's done absolutely nothing wrong. Yeah. So Sammy Mokbel and Naz writes the following: just 4 years after Raz Sterling, they wrote Raheem, was widely regarded as England's best player on the run to Euro 2020 final, which, by the way, guys, is something that I often say and remind you how he was in this scintillating form. Scoring against Spain. He scored a brace away in Spain? I can't remember. But the following season, he was on the bench for Man City, and despite winning his 4th Premier League title, he was sold to Chelsea, the first marquee signing of their new owners. The move hasn't worked out well at all. Now aged 30, young, very young, Sterling faces a season in exile at Chelsea. The 30 million wages remaining on his contract, a key factor in the stalemate. So what's going on? Chelsea move turned sour. Sterling signed a 5-year, it says 325k a week, but I have read so many multiple reports suggesting that he's on 300k a week. It's basically the same, but 325k a week is what, Big Lulu was on, and that was the most we've ever paid a player. I think we were willing to give Eden Hazard, the bag, basically, but he went to Real Madrid in the end. But yeah, minor details here. The £50 million transfer was a statement of intent by Todd Boehly, who at the time, of course, was acting as temporary interim sporting director. And Clearlake Capital, Chelsea's majority owners. A problem for Sterling has been people behind such a big deal are no longer in charge at the club. Is that a problem? It's not a problem for Sterling. He's just, he means probably Tukes, Big Tommy Tukes. In addition to Boehly's diminishing influence, Thomas Tuchel was the head coach, who oversaw Sterling's arrival. Yeah, like I said, Tuchel kept saying over and over and over he was the primary target. He was a priority target. Then came Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, Pochettino, and all within Sterling's first 2 seasons at the club. Wow. I mean, it's been a ride, bro. And then you just suffer for not being on the low age revolution, really. But in 2 years, his contract at Chelsea effectively ended his role. But 2 years into his contract at Chelsea, his role as a first-team player ended when Maresca decided Sterling was not in his first-team plans. Did Maresca work? I don't think he did work with Sterling because he was the assistant to Guardiola when they won the treble. And at that point, Sterling had gone to Chelsea. Just Possibly just, but still. So Maresca might have been at Man City when Sterling was at Man City, possibly doing well, but he would have been the under-23s coach, coaching the likes of Palmer and Delap, I think. He has not played for the club since he spent the last season on an underwhelming loan at Arsenal. So the contract issue and life in the, quote, bomb squad. I, like many, don't like the name bomb squad. I don't think it's very nice for professional footballers, but yeah, it's a sort of tabloidy term. They call it the loft in France, don't they, in French media. Unless the Blues and Sterling reach an agreement over a severance package for the £30 million remaining on his contract, the earliest we are likely to see the England international play first-team football again is in January. And the prospect of that scenario seems small. Yeah, because where, bro? Do you know what I mean? There now appears to be a reluctance from the London club to pay Sterling up. He appears reluctant to give Chelsea an easy route out of his agreement. Yeah. Like, I'm a Chelsea fan. I would love for him to go, well, you know what, guys? This time I'll just leave. I'll go play somewhere, rip up my contract, don't pay my wages. I'll just leave and sign for Brentford and play a bit of football. Do you know what I mean? Sign on a free transfer to Brentford or Fulham, get paid 100k a week instead of or like 80k a week. Just play some football. I've made money in life. I've got investments. I'd love for him to do that. He is in no way obligated or expected to do that, as far as I'm concerned. You know, and he's not a knobhead, like, by the way. He's a really great guy, Raz. So I think it's important that we think of the human side of this, as is so important with football often. There now appears to be reluctance. I've just said that. Both stances are somewhat understandable. Yeah, like I've just explained, I think. The immediate future of Sterling will remain with Chelsea's bomb squad that now only includes Axel Disasi and David Datro Fofana. What a trio. Sterling is waiting for a clearer picture of how his future at Chelsea's exile looks after the international break. Life at Chelsea's bomb squad is far from luxurious. With limited use of first-team facilities, it's a lonely existence. The uncertainty and difficulties that have followed Sterling's career for 12 months have no sign of relenting. Worth mentioning as well, the PFA are considering getting involved with these bomb squads, talking about how players get pushed out, and then, like, you know, essentially the club's trying to make their lives miserable, so they leave. Man United have done it loads. Chelsea have done it loads recently. Yeah, and, you know, the PFA protect the players and say, look, they're doing everything by the book in terms of their employment and their contract, and you're treating them like this. Like, if it was any other job, excuse me, if it was any other job, there would be like HR, like, what the hell's going on here? Do you know what I mean? Why has someone of Sterling's pedigree not found a new home? Well, the financial aspects are unquestionably a major factor. I'd argue the factor. But it should be down to Chelsea to find a new club and the right financial package to facilitate Sterling's exit, or it is his responsibility to forego what he is owed to prioritise playing first-team football. So he's owed... So let's just say, I'll speculate here, there is a offer from Chelsea saying, you can just go. Yeah, you can rip up your contract, which means obviously you lose 30 million in wages over the next 2 years, but you can go and sign for a new club, get maybe, I don't know, 10 million instead of 30 million. Even that's a push to somewhere you want for the next 2 years. But you get a longer contract, maybe a 3-year contract, so you get an extra clip on at the end, and they might give you a sign-on fee, bro, because you're a free agent. So it's not like he's losing just straight up 30 mil. That 30 mil will be reduced because of the money he generates elsewhere won't be as much, but he'll have agency to do what he wants. So that's kind of, you know, Chelsea, we were seeing like Chelsea want £20 million for Raz. You're dreamers, mate. You're dreamers. Just take the hit. It was before the new sporting director's project. But maybe he would have, to be honest, maybe he would accept that. Because as a free agent, he would get like a 5 million sign-on bonus somewhere. Slightly better wages, more choice of club. I don't know. I've completely pulled those numbers out of my behind. Sources have indicated that the emphasis was on the club to present opportunities. to Sterling, given the clear intention to move him on during the transfer window. It became increasingly clear Arsenal would not like make the loan permanent. Yep, funny that. When he played for under Mikel Arteta. So the predicament has not been sprung on Chelsea last minute. No, of course not. I mean, to be fair, they were spinning thousands of plates, and they probably saw, maybe not Chilwell. I think they really wanted to look after Chilwell and get him a move, and there was a really nice goodbye from Chilwell on social media, so that was like a nice ending. Well, as nice as it could have been. And Nkunku was a priority, Joao Felix was a priority. It turned out towards the end, Nico Jackson was a priority in terms of making good money for sellable assets, If Sterling believes his future is not a priority for Chelsea, you would understand. He would prefer to stay near London. His son Thiago is in Arsenal's academy. Excuse me. Traitor! Arsenal's academy? And Sterling wants to avoid disrupting his family life again, which is totally fair, by the way. That is not to say Sterling did not enter the transfer window with an open mind. There was an understanding that he would consider any opportunity tabled by Chelsea, as long as it worked for both parties. Yeah, I don't think he's being a knobber. It's believed those opportunities did not transpire. Apparently, Juventus and Leverkusen were brought to the table. From Chelsea's perspective, sources claim they brought Champions League sides Leverkusen and Juve to the table. Jesus, man, I got crazy hay fever today. Look, Raheem, Juventus, and granted at the time, Ten Hag's by Leverkusen, that might have been like, frightening prospect. But yeah, Juve, bro. Come on, massive club, Champions League, and Italian food, etc. Other good things. That is, although he was interested, Sterling's desire to remain close to his family took precedence. They are, to be fair to Chelsea, they are wonderful offers. So London, he wants to stay in London. Fulham, Crystal Palace and West Ham among the London clubs sounded out, but those never materialised. Yeah, it's probably just financial, bro. And West Ham, of course, managed by his former manager, Graham Potter. Chelsea respects Sterling's position and understand his reluctance to uproot his family for the second time in 3 years, but Chelsea felt the wages limited the options they could present to Sterling. Yes. They feel that. I can confirm that will absolutely be the case. With regard to his family and his preference staying in London, it's important to stress, however, that the wages, while a clear factor in this situation, are not to be all and end all for Sterling, who has turned down far more lucrative deals, of course, to go to the Saudi Pro League in the last 12 months. Indeed, rushed circumstances surrounding his Arsenal loan last season has acted as a cautionary tale. Basically, he was like, yeah, I'll go to Arsenal. And he feels like, I've heard this from other articles and sources, that he actually feels like he didn't do due diligence to be like, should I be going to Arsenal? Am I going to play? Mikel Arteta just knows me from City, but will he play me? How much am I going to play here? From that perspective of regular playing time, it did not pan out how he'd hoped, of course. Now he wanted to take much more thinking time. But the thinking time ran out, Raheem. Sources say he will continue to report to training, maintain his level of professionalism until a solution is found. With the window closed, Sterling finds himself in the same spot, and Chelsea continue to pay his wages. In short, nobody wins. To a degree, I'd argue, Raheem wins. If you're in it for the money. Well, there are still transfer windows open, but look. He ain't going to Saudi. I don't know why he'd say no to Turkey. I don't know why he'd say no to Juve. Well, he doesn't want to move his family, but couldn't he have, gone on a loan, shop windowed himself a little bit? Chelsea gets some of his wages paid. He just stays in Italy, just for one season, visits his kid in midweek. They visit him in Italy for a little bit. It's happened. I don't know. Similarly, the Turkish window is open. And Besiktas this is One Football, move for defender Axel Disas. I'm so annoyed I just cut off the recording. Now I'm going to have to go through and put it into loads of editing software. That's live, that's what all the people say. Playing for Chelsea in April, Besiktas and me. So yeah, Turkish Super League. Axel Disasi saying no to other clubs, but would he say yes to the Turkish Super League? Well, One Football write this. the following. Chelsea defender Axel Disasi is a target for Besiktas, the fans that always quote on social media, "Come to Besiktas." After being isolated in the first team Stamford Bridge, this is coming from Turkish football media, the Blues have been a trying ship. Disasi have been, excuse me, they have been a trying ship. They have been trying to ship Disasi. They haven't been a trying ship. They might be a ship, the good ship Chelsea, but I tell you what, with Disasi, it's certainly not a friendship. Come on. Hey, any couples in tonight? Hey, who's drinking tonight? It's the handheld microphone. Most suitors have only stepped forward with proposed loans. It remains unclear whether Besiktas, 16 times champions of Turkey, Mishi went there, didn't he? Want him temporarily or permanently. The Chelsea centre-back is part of the club's, here we go, bomb squad, along with the aforementioned Datro Fofana and Raz Sterling. Remember Datro Fofana? You know, the second coming of Didier Drogba, the Ivorian striker that we all got terribly excited about, who came from Mulder. God, we were in the trenches, clutching at straws. However, he can still seal a move because of course the Turkish transfer window remains open. They've reportedly made they've made inquiries, and they are ready to discuss a move with Chelsea and the player. They are seriously pursuing his signature. Yes, of course he went to Aston Villa. They did not sign him. Disasi, they played him at right back. Why do people keep playing Disasi at right back? That is a mistake. Stop doing that. Stop it. Or do what you want, actually. Just sign him. Sign him and then do what you want. Let's talk about Disasi. I ain't got an X to grind with Disasi. He had a great performance away at the Etihad. He did this staged fan dive at Palace. He had scored the old goal. He's a good, big physical centre-back. He's probably misused a lot at Chelsea, I would argue. Yeah? But, yeah, time to go, man. To be honest, to have 3 players only in the bomb squad, and one of them in Datro Fofana, a relatively inexpensive signing that we will sell to someone, make a slight loss on a relatively low outlay, and it will just be like a sort of, a quiz question in 5 to 10 years. Probably sooner than 10 years. Disasi will make a little loss on, again, it's just Raheem Sterling's the big headline maker, isn't he? But I hope, I pray, and I'd urge Chelsea to stop this bomb squad nonsense. And Man United. I understand to a slight degree why they're trying to do it now in terms of keeping players away from the main. Because look, no one wants to see their mates bummed out. It creates a toxic feeling. In what is a good vibe at Chelsea, don't create that toxic feeling, because you'll be mates with Axel or Raheem. They're good guys. You don't want them in this little room somewhere. It caused a massive, huge problem at Man United when, Jadon was over there and, Rashford really didn't like it. Just stop doing it now, all of you. I mean, Chelsea have got a sporting project. They've got the new sporting directors. Everyone they buy, they've got a plan for. They'll loan out. They see as professionals. They're not on insane wages anymore. So with that, there's no need for a bomb squad anymore. Stop it. No more bomb squads. It's not nice. It's just a recognition of your failures. Don't make failures anymore. Be better. And if there's the odd player that you ideally don't want, in the same way Nkunku and Jackson were just training with Chelsea's first team, even though they're both probably being sold. Especially Nkunku, the plan was to sell him, but he was still involved with the Chelsea first team. Just have players like that. No more bomb squads, I pray. Alright, man. Let me know your thoughts, though. Please do leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content here on the channel. Very, very grateful for that. And, yeah, man. Like, subscribe, comment, share, hype. And if you are interested, of course, there's daily content over on the second channel. Football Yannick, you're welcome to mosey on over there and show your support. I am very, very slowly closing in on 20,000 subs. And 200,000 here, really. Good synergy. Superb. Alright, mate. Take care of yourselves. Peace.